Thank you, everybody. Could you please be seated? I would like to welcome everyone here to the annual council meeting of the 16th of May of Harborough District Council. It's lovely to see you all, friends and family of mine and friends and family, Councillor Johnson as well. Could I please ask mobile phones to be placed on silent or turned off? This is a lovely occasion, the annual council, and we wouldn't want it to be spoiled by phones ringing off at the wrong time. I would like to congratulate all of the members of the council on their election and on their re-election to this council. And I know that all members will take their responsibilities very much to heart, not just for their wards, their towns, their villages, but also the responsibility as a district councillor as a responsibility to the district as a whole as well. Before we start the agenda proper, there are a couple of matters I'd like to attend to. The first is a very happy one for me. One of the great privileges of being a chairman is that you have a chairman's charity, and the chairman is allowed to have events during the course of the year in order to raise funds for the chosen charity. And as you all know, my chosen charity was the Leicestershire and Rutland branch of the Motor Neurone Disease Association. And I know that there are many people in this room that know people, have loved ones, friends and colleagues who have all suffered with that awful disease. The response to the charity fundraising during the course of the year has been fantastic, and I thank you all very much for your support. I was both amazed and touched last night as I was watching the news, seeing Kevin Sinfield run the Leeds Marathon, pushing Rob Burrow, who is a great hero with his fundraising activities from MNDA, and then to see Kevin Sinfield carry Rob Burrow across the finish line. It really was quite an emotional moment to view. And it just, I thought, was quite a timely reminder of what my charity was all about, to support the fundraising activities to battle this terrible disease. During the course of the year, I'm pleased to announce that the charity raised £3,030 for the Leicestershire £30 of which was paid direct to the charity. So I have the very great pleasure in handing over a balance for the remainder, which is a straight £3,000. And I would like to present this cheque for that amount to the chairman of the Leicestershire and Rutland branch of MNDA, Mrs. Janet McMillan. So please accept this cheque on behalf of the chairman's charity at Harborough District Council for £3,000.
Can I just say, on behalf of the Leicestershire and Rutland branch, this is an enormous privilege to be here, and I just want to thank all of you who've supported Councillor Bannister over the last year. This is an amazing sum to be raised. And I know that all sorts of hard work's gone into all of this, and there's people here who I know behind the scenes have done a lot of work as well. But without Councillor Bannister nominating us, we wouldn't have this wonderful donation at a time when we need it so much. We've already this year given out over 20 support and care grants to people in Leicestershire. So the money is needed more than ever. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody who's supported the Chairman's charity for this year. Thank you.
I hope, Janet, that you'll be able to stay for the refreshments at the end of annual council. And again, the second matter that I'd like to do before we start the agenda proper is to introduce Canon Brian Davis, who will offer us a reflection and prayer as we start the business of the evening. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Neil, for inviting me to say a few words and to say a prayer. You didn't tell me what I had to talk about, so it will be something that is very passionate for myself. I thought I'd better start with a joke. I have a number of bishop jokes. Here is one, this bishop joke. The bishop was very forgetful, this particular bishop. He had to listen to a curate preaching his first sermon, and in the middle of it, the young man said, "I must tell you that the most wonderful moments of my life have been spent in the arms of another man's wife." Shock, horror. Then the curate said, "Well, of course," he said, "I mean my mother." Ha ha, lots of laughter. The bishop thought, I like that. I could use that in the sermon next Sunday at the cathedral when the Mothers' Union are going to be there. So in the middle of his sermon, the bishop said, "I must tell you, ladies, that the most wonderful moments of my life have been spent in the arms of another man's wife." Shock, horror. And then the bishop said, "But for the life of me, I can't remember who she was." I have every sympathy with the bishop, because a lot of us, as we get older, some of the memory starts to go. I have to admit, that's certainly true of me, and I think it's true of a lot of older people. But so we need to work out what really matters, because a lot of things in our life don't matter, and hold on to the things that really matter and keep reminding ourselves about it. And the one thing that I want to hang on to, and because I'm passionate about it, is this whole business of caring for the environment and doing all we can to save life on this planet, global warming and climate change. The ice caps are melting, you all know this. The sea levels are rising, we get extremes of weather, and so on and so on. It's not all doom and gloom. Yes, certain things are happening, and that's good. But still there are many of us, I believe, who don't really get it. It's not that they're deniers, but they don't realise of the urgency. And if we don't get down to business and really make a difference, then things could be terrible. Maybe it's not affected us so much in this country. Although you talk to the farmers will tell you they know that the climate is changing. But in other parts of the world, like Spain, and how many of you are holiday in Spain, there's been already this year terrible heat waves and drought and water shortage. Or East Africa, two friends of mine went out with the Oxfam recently to Kenya. The rains have failed 4 years running, and that's to do with climate change. They said it was really depressing. Everywhere they went, there were dead animals. It's about facing up to reality, the reality of climate change. We're not very good at facing up reality. It's part of the way we are. That's the way we cope with life. We don't want to face up to it a lot of the time, but this is so urgent. All the experts telling us we only now have a few years now to make a difference. It's easy to become despondent, but there is hope. Now I say it partly as a Christian believer. There is always hope, but hope is what you do. It's not just sitting back and saying, oh yes, I have hope, and then doing nothing, or even worse, leaving it to God. We have the Climate Emergency Action Plan, haven't we? You have. And we just need, though, to get more and more people actually doing something and making a difference. We've got the Big Green Week coming up here in Market Harbour, the 9th to the 16th of June, organised by Sustainable Harbour. I'm a member of it. Lots of people wanting to do something to save our planet. And we've all of us got to look at our lifestyle. Every one of us have got to say, can I cut down my carbon emissions? Turning down the thermostats. It's quite warm in here, isn't it? More cycling, using public transport. Well, I can go on. We've all got to do something and make a difference. We need to pray. Here's just a few prayers. Lord, may we sort out what really matters to make the most of life that is left to us. May we have the strength and the courage to face up to the reality of climate change, to speak about it, and to act on it, especially those who have been elected to serve Harbour District Council. May we remember those who are already being drastically affected by the changing climate, often the people like those in Kenya who have done least to cause climate change. Lord, help us to believe there is always hope, but hope means action. Here in Harbour and District, may we become a beacon of light in what sometimes seems a dark world. So help us to live in hope. Lord, you have given us a wonderful world. It still is a wonderful world, even though we've made a bit of a mess of it. Help us to enjoy it, to wonder at it, and to cherish it. Amen.
Thank you very much, Brian, for those prayers and the thought-provoking reflections. You've chosen your audience well. I'll now move to the chairman's chair and we'll proceed with the annual council. Council, the agenda, item 1, I call on the interim chief executive, Liz Elliott, to present the report of the returning officer following the elections held on the 4th of May 2023.
Thank you, Chair. After the district elections, the returning officer has a duty to give you a report to name all of those that have been elected in the recent election. The report is before you at item 1 and it is to note. Thank you, Chair. I have nothing further to add.
Thank you. Councillor Knowles.
Chairman, I just wanted to point out and thank the returning officer for the report, but it does list Councillor Elliott down as being Paul Elliott rather than Peter Elliott. So I just thought I'd better point that out for the benefit of the table.
I understand that there unfortunately were a couple of typos, but there should be an amended sheet that has been tabled for members. So I beg forgiveness from you, Councillor Knowles, but it has been corrected.
I was just stepping in for Councillor Johnson, Chairman. She normally fixes typos.
That's quite right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. We have noted that. And also I think Councillor Foreman, we put an E in your name and we've taken that out now as well. Thank you.
We'll make sure it's properly endorsed in the minutes of the council meeting. And I'm just reminded, as Councillor Knowles and Liz Elliott was speaking, particularly to the new members of the council, it is the convention when speaking in council, please, to stand when you address the chair. Thank you. Now, item 2 on the agenda is the election of the chairman for 2023-2024. 2024. And I invite nominations from the members. Councillor Sarfas.
I nominate Barbara Johnson, who is a good work in the community, has been chairman before, so will make a good chairman for the future for the community of Harbour District Council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sarfas. Is there a seconder for that proposal?
I second Barbara for this position. Councillor Woodward.
Thank you very much, Councillor Widdowson. Are there any other nominations? I'll put on my glasses just to make sure. There are none. Absence of any other nominations, and there just being the one nomination for chairman for the year 2023-24, I am delighted to declare that Councillor Barbara Johnson is elected chairman of Harbour District Council for that municipal year 2023 and 2024. Congratulations. Councillor Johnson, would you like to join me at the lectern so I can present you with the chairman's chain of office? Councillor Johnson, many congratulations on being elected chairman. You will be wearing this with a great deal of pride, I know.
I, Barbara Johnson, having been elected to the office of Chairman of the Harbour District Council, declare that I will take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Let's have a look at the agenda.
I just want to say to all of you, thank you very much for your support, and I look forward to your support over the coming months. I think I can say at this point that my charity I've chosen for the year is the air ambulance, specifically the Leicestershire and Rutland Air Ambulance. They do such wonderful work in our community. As you all know, response time is critical these days, and they achieve it every time and have saved lives in that respect. I shall, during the course of the year, be having a civic service and a carol service as well, plus some yet undecided social engagements and charitable engagements. If any of you have any events in your areas in the district that you think you would like me to come along to, I hope you'll contact me on those. So keep the dialogue coming in to me, and I hope to have a good year. And I also want to thank Councillor Bannister for his support in particular. Thank you. So, Councillor Bannister, I wonder if you come and join me here. We'd like to give you a vote of thanks for your work as chairman. And I think I need a seconder for this. Would any of the councillors like to second this? Thank you. Councillor King.
Yes, Chairman, and if I may just say thank you, congratulations on being elected chairman again, and if I may just say a few words, is that possible?
Yes, sure.
So as the outgoing leader, I'd just like to say a special thank you to Neil, because actually it's been a very busy year for him in a way that I think none of us would have expected. So last summer was obviously Her Late Majesty's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, and there were a lot of activities. I know Neil and the Vice Chairman, Councillor Mahal, were very busy, as was I, in some of those activities. And then sadly we had Her Late Majesty passed away in September. I know Councillor Bannister was away abroad and Councillor Mahal took the reins, and that all went fairly smoothly. But again, there was a lot of things to do, and just last week, I know Councillor Bannister has been very busy. At the end of the election count, he had to nip off and plant a tree, as you do when you chair of the civic head of the council. So, and on top of that, as we heard earlier, Neil's charity, Councillor Bannister's charity, has actually raised quite a lot of money, all the activities, and I've been to some of those, and they were very good events. And we look forward to hoping to help the incoming chairman's charity in a similar way, I'm sure. So I'd just like to say, Neil, thank you very much. Whilst I was leader, being a very effective and efficient chair at a time when there was actually quite a lot for you to do, not just go to all the events around the district, but actually to do the civic part of, you know, doing the big events and things like that as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Knowles, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, please, Chairman, and can I congratulate you on your appointment. I just want to say a few words of thanks to Councillor Bannister. Everything he's done in his years of office has been done in a very fair and very balanced way, and he's always done it with sympathy and to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. And I think that's a great tribute to him, that whilst he chaired this authority, he made sure that everyone was treated exactly the same. He took the opportunity to always make sure that if help was needed from the chair, he gave it. And I will always remember when the tree was planted from the Buckingham Palace tree that was there, that was delivered to Welland Park. Some of us were down there, and we were there to sort of spectate. But he made a point of inviting each one of us to come forward and participate in the planting of that tree. You know, something that might seem a small thing, but it was something that was very well received by us, and we were very grateful to him because it showed that he understood just how important it was for us to be there. And I have to say, we greatly appreciated his time and his kindness. I wish you a very happy year, relaxing, and you know, not having to rush around, as Councillor King said, planting trees. And I want to say sincerely, thank you for how you've chaired this council. You've been a credit.
Would anyone else like to speak? Thank you, Councillor James.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd just like to echo what Councillor Knowles has said, really. Councillor Bannister, in his own way, has kept us all in order. He has been very firm, very polite, and I'd like to thank him for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor James. Yes, I made some notes on Councillor Bannister, and I would just like to say that I found he steered a steady and safe course through the past year, and members will, I'm sure, remember him for his fair and consistent handling of our meetings. Thank you, Neil. And we have something to present to you now, which is a badge. Past chairman's badge. Past chairman's badge. Neil. Yes, very well. Very good. Yes, thank you. Seems to be a lot of moving on my seats. I hope I'm going to be settled in this one now. Yes, Councillor Bannister, I invite you to give a response. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and let me join in the congratulations publicly on your election as chairman of Harborough District Council. Thank you very much for those tributes. I was going a little pink with embarrassment, and Councillor Knowles, I did have a little agenda when I invited you and the others to help me with the planting of the Jubilee tree from Buckingham Palace, and that was to, if that tree ever did grow up wonky, then it would be a shared responsibility of those that helped plant the tree. It has been an honour and a privilege to be the chairman. I have been reminded this morning that I, in fact, attended some 80 civic events during the course of my year, and I've been pleased that I've been able to attend functions across the whole of the district, from Thurnby in the northeast of the district down to Claybrook in the southwest of the district. Some of the events have been fun. I really did enjoy the classic car show that we have here in Market Harborough. I enjoyed having a day that Mrs. Bannister joined me with at the Guides and Brownies Jamboree as well, learning all about how much fun they were having here in the district. And there's been some proud occasions as well. I took pride in the fact that the district hosted the Women's World Championship of Gliding, and of course pride in taking part in the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations and the King's coronation services, and a great honour to represent the District Council at Buckingham Palace last week at the coronation garden party. There have, of course, been solemn occasions to which I've attended, of course, the Remembrance Day services, the Holocaust Memorial commemoration that was held, a very moving occasion, and of course attending the services on the passing of Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. I'd like to give a number of thanks, and I want to thank my Vice Chairman, Councillor Mahal. She stepped in on a number of occasions to assist me in those civic duties. And of course, I was particularly grateful for Councillor Mahal in taking the chair during the council's special meeting when tributes were held to Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, and I'm very grateful to Councillor Mahal for reading the proclamation of the new King in the square in Market Harborough. It is always a privilege to be able to have a nominated charity, and I was indeed very honoured to be able to present Janet with the cheque earlier this evening. I do want to share one secret with you, and that is when I was in the chair during council meetings, I really did enjoy keeping you guys in order. So I've got a number of thanks. I'm grateful to my family for their love and support during the course of the year. My daughters, Jessica and Laurel. I want to thank my wife, Catherine. Without her love and support, I could not have done what I did this year. And if I could ask Catherine to come forward, there's a little thank you that I'd like to present her with. I think Beverly is just hoping to find it. So Catherine, would you like to come forward, please? It's been a superb concert and great help to me. A lot of the work Janet McMillan alluded to beforehand does go on behind the scenes, and I have a huge debt of gratitude to the officer that has supported me throughout. I have not been an easy chairman. I'm sure she will tell you that, but if I can please thank Beverly Burt for all the help that she has given me. Beverly, thank you so much. You've been a superb. Beverly's been ably supported by Sarah Hamilton, so I've got you a little modest gift of thanks as well. So. And finally, a thank you to all of the members of this council that have indeed behaved themselves during the course of council meetings for your help and support to me as chairman. It has been a good year. It's been a proud year for me, and I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you all very much indeed.
We now move to item 6 on our agenda, appointment of the Vice Chairman for the year 2023-2024. I'm asking for nominations. Councillor Galton.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, and congratulations on your new office as Chairman of the Council. I hope you have a very successful year. I'm absolutely delighted to be able this evening to move my colleague Councillor Peter Elliott for the Vice Chairman of Harbour District Council for the forthcoming year. Peter is well trained in this job because he has been the Chairman of Scraptoft Parish Council for as long as I can remember, and that is quite a long time. And I can assure you that if he chairs the parish council, if he needs to deputise for you, Madam Chairman, I can assure the council that having seen him in action chairing the parish council, I know that he will chair this meeting or this council with a rod as well. So we could look forward to that. But I'm also particularly pleased to be able to move him because he's my ward colleague. And Peter won't let you in his office forget where he comes from Scraptoft and Thornbury and Houghton ward. The last chairman from our ward was Councillor Jan Tooley, which some members may remember. Unfortunately, is no longer with us. But this honour seems to, for Arwood, comes around about every 20 years, because I looked up the one before that and it was the mid-80s. So it's not very frequent that Arwood is able to nominate successfully someone to be the vice chair. So that would again give me another reason why I'm absolutely delighted to move Peter Elliott, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Galton. And I need a seconder. We got a seconder? Councillor Beadle.
Thank you, Chair. Very happy to second Councillor Elliott.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other nominations? No. No. Okay. So show hands. Starting. Right. I declare that Councillor Elliott is elected Vice Chairman. Thank you. And I invite Councillor Elliott to come to the lectern. And Councillor Mahal. Can do. No. Sorry.
I, Peter Elliott, having been elected to the office of Vice Chairman of the Harbury District Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. Okay. Where are you? Yes, I just want to say how I just want to say how pleased I am that Councillor Elliott has been elected as Vice Chairman. He and I go back a long way, and we actually first met in an orchard in Scraptoft many years ago. There's something to work out. Thank you. Councillor Elliott, do you want to say any words? I'd like to thank the members for electing me as Vice Chair, and I shall do the job to the best of my ability.
We now move to the minutes of the annual meeting of Council on the 23rd of May 2022, and we need to approve these. I ask for a proposer, Councillor Bannister.
Yes, as Chairman on that occasion, Chair, I would like to propose that we accept the minutes of the annual council meeting held on the 23rd of May of 2022.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Knowles.
Happy to second that, Chairman.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. It's carried. They're carried. You can sign those. already done my chuckling do. Yes. And I'm going to leave that. So it's selection of the leaders. We now move to the election of the leader of the council for 2023-2027 and ask for a nomination for the post of leader. Do we have a nomination, Councillor Beadle?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, at this historic moment for this authority, as we start our new term of office, the electorate has spoken and they have said that they want something different, and we've got something different. So as a coalition partner, I'm very pleased and happy to propose Councillor Knowles as leader of the council.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Woody Wiss?
Yes, as a second member of the coalition, I too am very pleased to support Phil for this position. Councillor Knowles, sorry.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? No? No? Okay. So a call on the new leader to make any relevant announcements.
Well, thank you, Chairman.
Sorry, Councillor Knowles. I've just realised, a show of hands first, please. For the post of leader, Councillor Knowles. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That is carried. Sorry, Councillor Knowles, would you like to speak now?
Thank you, Chairman, and I have to say I'm very honoured to have been elected leader of this authority. I think we have the opportunity here now to do things a little differently in cooperation with our officers and hopefully with cooperation with other members in the chamber across the whole chamber. We will be announcing the cabinet details very shortly. The cabinet will reflect the fact that we are working as a formal coalition. So it will, of course, include members of the Labour Party, the Greens and the Liberal Democrats. And details, as I say, will be released on that very shortly. I need, obviously, to have a chat with the Chief Executive about that and with the monitoring officer. I would also like to say that the chairs and vice chairs of the committees will also carry that same theme. But one of the things I've said for many a day at this authority is that good governance requires good scrutiny. I've long advocated that any member of the council should adopt that as a stance, and that we should be looking to have a member of the opposition party as the carrier of the title Scrutiny Commissioner. When we get further into the body of this agenda this evening, we will be looking at the Constitution, and I hope I'd say now, because I've shared this with Councillor Bateman, you know, I'm looking to refer this back to the Constitutional Review Committee to involve all members, including all the new members, so they can have their say on this and to get some, obviously, some fresh ideas and fresh feelings. That will necessitate things carrying on as they are, obviously. They may change, they may not. But I can say very clearly and for the record that the Scrutiny Commissioner of this authority will be a member of the Conservatives, because that is the right thing to do. I did not make that statement lightly when I was leader of the opposition, and I wanted to make sure that it was very clear that in no way, shape or form the Scrutiny Commissioner would stay in post as far as we're concerned, and that obviously that's going to be reviewed. We've got to look at the whole thing, but that will carry forward. And I repeat again, that member will be a member of the Conservative Party. I'd just like to say a few words of thanks. I did notice one or two Conservative hands going up to support my nomination, so I thank you for that. I don't know if you'll be in trouble afterwards, but don't worry, I've had a message from one of your Conservative colleagues who's no longer a councillor, who tells me he's having real torture because he's at the Leicester City-Liverpool match, waiting for that to kick off. And he said, put at the top, Phil, enjoy. So I'm not sure which one of us is going to have the best evening, but I've got a feeling he might have problems later on tonight. As far as it goes, I'd like to welcome the new members of the authority. I'd like to welcome back those who have been re-elected. My intention is to have very much an open door policy as leader of this authority, and I look forward to hearing ideas and sharing ideas with everyone that's around this table. I think it's important. I think the electorate have made it very clear that they want to see things done very differently, and certainly that's what we will do. And just referring back to the officers, I want to make it extremely clear that as far as I am concerned, I think it's important that people realise the officers and the elected members are two sides of the very same coin, and we've got to work extremely closely together to get the best for this authority. And as leader, I intend to ensure that we do that.
Thank you, Councillor Knowles. Councillor Bateman.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Firstly, congratulations on your appointment, and I hope you have a successful civic year. Also, congratulations to your Vice Chairman, Councillor Elliott. And it gives me pleasure, believe it or not, to congratulate Councillor Knowles on your election as leader to a new way of dealing at my Harborough District Council with a three-way coalition. I wish you all the best success moving forward with that, and thank you for your offer of a Conservative member to head the Scrutiny Commission. We will certainly put a name forward as and when we get to that point, and I thank you for that. All I've got to say really is you've inherited, I think, a successful local authority, and I would hope that you'll be able to continue the successes that have been brought forward over the last several years of Conservative control, and I'm sure you will do your best to do so. And all I'd say is we'll be on the opposition, and we'll be looking at you very carefully to see that you bring forward all the promises you made before the election to make sure the electorate get what they've voted for. So I wish you all the very best for the future. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Bateman. Any more? Yes, Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Councillor Knowles, as the outgoing leader, I say to you as the new leader of your three-party coalition, and it's intriguing, and I'm not going to get too political, you'll be unlike the sermon we had at the beginning. I'm just going to say savour this moment. It won't last, I can tell you that, because very soon you'll be facing up to the reality of what is in the in tray, and I don't mean here just at Harborough District Council, but also in local government generally. And as you and your new group comrades celebrate, local government, particularly small districts like Harborough, face challenging times, and it doesn't matter what the flavour of national government is. And some of those issues are attracting and keeping staff, resilience of our services, pressure of long-term funding, resident and business expectations, and there are multiple challenges from all directions. So I do hope that your promise not to adopt a partisan approach is one that is carried forward with. As you mentioned rightly, we are this side still the largest group, and as the leader said, opposition leader said, you have been left a solid platform, low debt, cash in bank, and reserves. So as I say, enjoy the moment, but I'm fairly sure it will last. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Page.
Thank you, Chair. And first of all, congratulations and to Councillor Elliott, and I think it's well deserved. Also, congratulations to Councillor Knowles, and I'm definitely looking forward to a few years ahead. Now, I'm not only surprised, but I'm pleased to hear that you are going to keep a commissioner. Now, as you know, I have been doing the job for many years, and one thing I am very sure of was that always the commissioner was an annual appointment. Now, this has to be done because there are legal duties a commissioner carries out. He has to do certain things, and he has to be an ex officio in scrutiny meetings. Now, if we are going to ahead with keeping a scrutiny commissioner, somebody has to carry out those duties as set out in the Constitution. So with there not being an agenda item for electing a scrutiny commissioner, I would like to know, maybe from the monitoring officer, how do we see this going to go forward? Because if we do not elect somebody tonight, then the next scrutiny committee meetings are without a commissioner. Now then the earliest opportunity will be at the July meeting where we can appoint a commissioner. So it is a little bit confusing to me because, as I said, we've done it always at the annual general meeting that we appointed a scrutiny commissioner. So just for the sake of going forward, I think we need clarity, but I welcome it. And again, looking forward with working with you. Thank you.
Sorry. Thanks for that, Councillor Mrs Page. As you know from the agenda, because we have not had details as to the appointments to committees, which is a later item on the agenda, at this point in time we can't, I'm not aware that anybody is in a position to nominate to any of the positions, and you will see that in the report that appears later on the agenda, we are asking that nominations by all of the parties to their politically balanced seats is put forward in due course, and it will be dealt with at that point in the agenda. Councillor Knowles.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Well, I'd just like to say I have spoken to the monitoring officer because obviously I wanted to clarify whether or not the scrutiny commissioner had to be appointed tonight for the obvious reasons. And my understanding was that it would be covered under that section and could be appointed within all of those appointments next week or this week or whenever we do them. So we can do that. I was not aware that we had to do that tonight, and that was the information I'd been given, because obviously it isn't on the agenda, but I've made a very clear statement as far as I'm concerned. It's absolutely set in tablets of stone that the scrutiny commissioner will be a member of the Conservative Party.
Thank you. We'll now move to item number 11, the annual review of the Constitution report. This item, we are required to note the content of the report and recommendations. And I'm going to ask the Director of Law and Governance to give us a very brief overview of that. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Again, everybody has the papers that have been provided to them in relation to the review of the Constitution. You'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to go through all of it. I take the hint, Chair, in terms of a very brief overview. The arrangements for the review of the Constitution, it is something that whilst I might have aspired to get it done for today so that we could appoint it in accordance with the current version of the Constitution, it was not possible, and therefore what is suggested in the recommendations is that you note the work that's been done to date and ensure that a revised copy of the Constitution, it says, is presented to the next meeting of Council. What I would suggest is that recommendation is amended so that it is presented to a meeting of a future council and that it's actually referred back to the CRC for further consideration in due course. As you're all aware, within the report there are various mechanisms which are indicated for you to contribute to the review of the Constitution, and the reasons for the review itself are set out within the report as well. So I would ask you to note the work undertaken to date and to determine whether it is to be referred back to the Constitutional Review Committee or not. Thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Chairman. I think it's pretty fair to say that there was a very heated discussion about this constitutional review. There were members on all sides who were keen to see it delayed because obviously we've got lots of new members. There were others that were worried about having just 6 days to look at a document of that size. And I think we need a little clarity as to exactly what we want to do as an authority. So I would like to formally move the following to replace what is on the order paper. I would move that, one, we note the contents and move referral back to the Constitutional Review Committee for members of the new committee and council to undertake reconsideration, comment and determination. And two, request early indication from the monitoring officer as to which, if any, sections of the current constitution may not be fully legally compliant. And if there are any sections, then how long has this been the case? I think we get that referred back. I've deliberately included the words new committee and council so that every member has the opportunity to input. I strongly believe that that is the thing to do. And I would formally move that, Chairman, and I would ask you to immediately seek a seconder and to put it to the vote. And Councillor Bateman wants to speak, Chairman.
Councillor Knowles, are you asking for this council to make a specific resolution that you want a determination on this current constitution in the terms that you have said? Because my understanding was that it would be referred back to the Constitution Review Committee. I just need to understand whether the wording of that resolution that you want is what you want this council to do.
Well, Chairman, if the monitoring officer wants to tell me I've got something wrong, I'm more than happy to take the advice. But I think it's fairly clear that it says we note the content, which we're being asked to do, and move referral back to the Constitutional Review Committee for members of the new committee and council, because the council will then have an input into it, to undertake reconsideration, comment and determination. Because as it stands at the moment, I don't think any of us in this room will support it going anywhere apart from back. And then I go on to put in little 2, is which we request the early indication of the monitoring officer as to which, if any, sections of the current constitution may not be fully legally compliant. And if there are any sections, then how long has this been the case?
That is the bit. Are you asking for that to be reported back to full council, or for that to be reported to the Constitution Review Committee in due course?
Well, it says there, early indication. It's going to have to go to both places. Constitutional review would be the automatic place originally, and then from there it would go on. So that's why it's been couched in that way. But certainly, we would want that information from the monitoring officer. Sorry to give you another job, Claire. We'd appreciate it if you can get that back to us at the earliest opportunity. And I think the constitutional review is the starting point for us. So I'd ask you to seek a second on that, Chairman.
Councillor Page. Oh, Councillor Bateman, sorry.
Sorry, Chairman. Yes, I'm happy to second that and fully endorse the comments of Councillor Knowles. Thank you.
Thank you. So can I just have a show of hands on that? Thank you. Right, that's carried. So we now move to item 12, calculation and application of political balance. And I invite the council to note the content of the report and recommendations, and the Director of Law and Governance will introduce the reports.
That's me again. Thank you very much, Chair. Again, because of the calculations were done immediately after the election for the figures that were returned, and therefore the numbers which have been put forward there, we have numbers, but we are inviting the political parties to actually notify me as to who the nominations for each of those seats are. However, with the advent of the coalition, those figures will change. But as soon as we have the detail as to the legal basis of the commission, I can understand whether I need to do a recalculation of the political balance, or whether it is to be nominated as per the report itself. At this point in time, the process under the legislation is for the proper officer to notify the parties of what the balance is, if it is not as set out in the papers of the report. So I'm not proposing to do anything further other than ask you to put forward the recommendations and provide a delegation to me to enable me to give effect to whatever nominations or whatever arrangements are put in place. Thank you, Chair.
So Councillor Knowles, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry to speak again. The monitoring officer very kindly informed me of that earlier and said it was a very simple case that we had to move that and seek a seconder so we would empower her to be able to move it forward at the appropriate time. So I'm very happy to do that.
Councillor Page.
Thank you. If we're looking under 3 detail, 3.2, it says it is proposed that the scrutiny commission to be deleted in favour of larger scrutiny panels on page 37. Now, if this is just a simple matter of delegation, then if this is accepted and voted through, then we are actually proposing that the scrutiny commission is supposed to be deleted. Then, obviously, the previous statement Councillor Lowndes made becomes invalid. So could you clarify that, please? Thank you.
Councillor Knowles.
Chairman, my understanding was that this is simply a referral back on the numbers to the under the delegated function, that no other actions will be taken. So it is purely and simply that I'm moving the referral of information to the appropriate officer. And I'll repeat again, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way that the Scrutiny Commission or anything that's is going to be changed until we've all had an opportunity to look at it.
Sorry, Councillor Mrs Page, that recommendation at C, it should read 3.3 to be dissolved, so not the Scrutiny Commission. I apologise for that typo. It should have read the 3.3, which are those committees which are listed at paragraph 3.3, which have not met. So that is the Annual Parish Liaison, the Community Governance Review Committee, the Electoral Review Committee and Harbour Highways. They are the 4 that I am suggesting should be formally dissolved because I've been unable to track that to when either they last met or they were removed. So I do apologise for that typo. Councillor King.
Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So just want to clarify exactly what we're being asked to vote on. What is the recommendation that we're being asked to vote on? Because just picking up what Councillor Mrs Page just said, it is a little confusing. So because there are recommendations on page 34 and 35, A to I, and I'd just be grateful if we can get clarity on what it is we're actually being asked to vote for or not, as the case may be. I'd just like to make a suggestion that this recommendation does need amending, and perhaps some thought just needs to be given as to which bits. I mean, just picking up what the new leader mentioned earlier about and what was the agreement at the CRC meeting last when we met in April was for the constitution to go back. If we are talking about deleting a redundant committee, then maybe that should be part of the CRC report rather than it being done on the nod tonight as part of the recommendation on the calculation of numbers. That's just a suggestion, Chair, that we might like to do it like that rather than do it now. And not everyone, because we've got to understand, obviously there are 11 new members who won't actually know what most of this is about. Not, you understand what I'm saying. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Graves.
Thank you, Chair. It was really just to briefly double check something I've already heard. Is it recommendation C, which is being altered to change 3.2 for 3.3? And I'm getting a nod. Thank you very much. And my comment really on Councillor Page's valuable comment about paragraph 3.2, where it does say it's proposed that the Scrutiny Commission be deleted. I don't see that sentence has made its way through to the recommendations, and equally I've read the recommendations and I don't believe the recommendations actually are strong enough to include that deletion. So I think it might be in 3.2, which I'm not happy with.
but I don't actually think that's made its way through to the recommendations. I'd be very keen to have a comment from the chair or the chair's officers as to whether that is correct or whether there's a different view. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask Liz Elliott to respond to that.
Okay, just for clarity. So we are asking whether at recommendation A, whether council decide whether they want all of those committees listed in 3.2, which are planning, regulatory, constitutional review, audit and standards, employment, investigation and disciplinary, appeals, licensing, performance, scrutinies, performance scrutiny, community scrutiny, scrutiny commissioner and Revs and Ben's joint committee to still stand. That's your first recommendation. Do you want them all to keep going or do you want to change any? Now, if you want to keep them all going, as in scrutiny commissioner, then we agree that they all keep going. B is confirm whether those committees that the monitoring officer has highlighted have not met for a very long time and we believe to be dissolved but can't find a formal resolution to dissolve them, which are the annual parish liaison, community governance review, electoral review and Harbour Highways committees are dissolved because they are no longer sitting and we don't need them any further. Little c is then to resolve that we do then formally dissolve those 4 committees. D is then decide the number of seats on the committees, subcommittees and panels to be appointed for the forthcoming municipal year. And that is around, do you want to stick with the current number of seats on the committees as they are, or do you want to change any of those committees? Do you want to stick with the 5, 7s and 9s? If you wanted to, you have an opportunity now to say, we don't want 9, we want 11 on this committee, or you can just continue with the committees as they are currently formed. The political balance then is the one that we have to note, and we note on the basis of the political balance that we have here, and should, once we have seen the formation agreement of the coalition, we can then change that, and that's the delegation that the monitoring officer is asking for, to say that authorising the Director of Law in consultation to determine any changes to those political balances and determine who should be appointed to those committees. G is also an authorisation to the Director of Law and Governance to allocate those political groups and any subcommittees as well, so that we can make sure that we allocate those according to political balance based on any new calculations. And also to the final thing is to note that we want any nominations to the committees that you have agreed to continue to dissolve and the numbers already outlined in those recommendations to let us know by the 21st of May which you want them to be, and that includes the nomination for the Scrutiny Commissioner. And then the Constitution is authorised the Director of Law and Governance to make any minor amendments to the Constitution to enact all of those things that you have agreed. So basically we're asking you, do you want to keep the committees as they are? Can we dissolve those 4 committees that are no longer sitting? Do you want to keep the number of seats on the committees as they have always been or make any amendments? Agree the political balance and give the delegation to the monitoring officer to effect any changes to political balance and also any changes to the constitution. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'll leave it to you to debate. Thank you.
There is another alternative. We could, you might want to keep the situation as it is now and then refer it to the CRC and the council. Would anybody like to? Councillor King.
Yeah, Chair, I'd just like to suggest, propose that we delete recommendation A, B, C, D and just stick with the political balance part, because I don't think we're going to get anywhere. It needs to be looked at and gone through, not tonight, because I don't think we can do that tonight. It needs to go through proper discussion, and we didn't really reach that conclusion at the CRC in April, so that was the whole point. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Page.
Yes, I think I would like to support that with, of course, the support of the leader, because I think it is very disappointing that we are at an annual civic council where we are supposed to make merry and celebrate our new leader and chairman, and we are faced with something of which we do not understand. We haven't had the chance to discuss in detail, and therefore I suppose we come back to this and do not prolong this any longer. Thank you.
No.
Thank you for that, Councillor King. Councillor Mrs Page. Unfortunately, the annual meeting has to appoint certain committees, planning committee, licensing, regulatory committees. That is something that only the annual meeting can do at this point. And so your options, as Liz went through, are either to confirm the current arrangements, in other words, the committees that we currently have, with the number of seats on them that they currently have, or to have a debate and amend those, or push that debate back to the Constitutional Review Committee. But either way, we need the committees, we need the annual meeting to agree what committees are going to be constituted. There is legal business which may have to be discharged, particularly by those regulatory committees, and therefore this evening you will need to either appoint those committees, or the business that is usually dealt with by those committees will have to be dealt with by a full council.
Thank you. Councillor King, Councillor Knowles, sorry.
Chairman, can I move a formal 5 minute break so we can actually have a few words about this rather than try and debate it in the council chamber? I think it'd be more productive. We can just have a quick word and try and put something together that we can move very quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. So I was formally moving the Germans for 10 minutes.
I agree with that, Councillor Knowles. We shall adjourn for 5 minutes. 10 to. Oh, 10 to, yes. 10 to, 7 minutes. Thank you, council. I'm going to ask Liz Elliott to say something about this.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So we have discussed an amendment to the recommendations, and we are going to change little a to agree the committees listed in 3.2 are to be appointed for the municipal year 23-24, because we have to appoint the committees, not necessarily who's on them, but we have to appoint the committees. So that will tick off the requirement that we need to do. We will delete B and C. We will then change little d to agree the number of seats on the committees, subcommittees and panels be appointed to for the forthcoming municipal year that are kept the same as current arrangements. That means we are not changing any committees at all. We are keeping exactly the same arrangements as last year. We will keep the E to H in as the recommendations because they allow us to agree the political balance and for the monitoring officer to make any amendments as necessary to those political balance calculations. And we are, because we are not changing anything from last year, we are going to delete I completely. So we are changing A to agree, deleting B and C, changing D to agree they are kept the same as current arrangements, keeping E, F, G, H and deleting I. Obviously, we will renumber them in the minutes accordingly, but that is what we are proposing to do. Thank you.
Councillor Knowles.
Thank you, Chair. I think we had a quick gathering round. Councillor Bateman, thank you for your help on that. We had a quick gather round there of trying to sort out what we would do. I think what has been said there, I've shared it with my colleagues on the coalition, and we're quite happy with all of that. So I'm more than happy to move that, unless Councillor Graves is about to tell me there's a problem, which I hope he isn't. I'll just give way to Councillor Graves in case he spotted something.
Councillor Graves.
Point of order, please. I believe everything you said is correct, and I believe that also deletes effectively the last sentence within paragraph 3.2, because if we are appointing the Scrutiny Commission, you can't then delete the Scrutiny Commission. Thank you.
So to continue, Chairman, thank you, Councillor Graves. I'm happy to move that so that it can be put to the vote. You can seek a seconder.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bateman, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes.
So can I have a show of hands? That's carried. That's carried. Thank you. Moving on as swiftly as we can now, because you know we've got some fun things to do at the end. We move to item 13, scheme of delegations. The Director of Law and Governance, Claire Patterson, will speak to this.
And again, as set out in the report, we are asking that exactly the same arrangements are retained as are at the current stage, in order that once the review of the Constitution takes place, then we can look at what delegations need to follow from that. But it should be everything to remain as the same as it will be for the next item, also in terms of the rota of meetings, but I'll address you at that point.
Councillor Graves, do you wish to propose this?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. I'm ready to propose this. Is this still necessary that you need a proposer for this item? I'm getting some nods, so I will propose it unless Councillor Knowles says something different.
Yeah, Chairman, what I was going to ask very simply was, and I think the monitoring officer clarified it, is that the delegations will continue as is, but they will be subject to review as part of the other work which we're doing. I just wanted, for the benefit of the tape, to
That is true, and Councillor Graves, yes, in the same way that we have to confirm the committees and the political balance, the annual meeting also has to confirm the scheme of delegations.
Councillor Mahal.
No, Councillor Moder, sorry.
Oh, Moder, sorry.
Yeah, Councillor Moder, Chair. Chair, the recommendations where it says council is invited to confirm the existing scheme of delegations as set out within part 3 of the Constitution. Just off the top of my head, part 3 of the Constitution, the new members here won't have had a chance to see part 3 of the Constitution. Is it fair then for them to be looking at this and voting on it this evening? Thank you, Chair.
I think that's a decision for the members. Councillor Graves.
Just a brief point of clarification, Chairman. I understand what you say, Councillor Moder, but councillors have had the ability since they received the agenda to go online. The entire constitution is there, including part 3. I guess anyone could have gone to read it, and it is the status quo, which I'm more comfortable with than changing at this meeting. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Graves. Thank you, Chair. I would just leave it to the new members then to, if they want to say something about that, but I just thought I'd raise it for their benefit. Thank you.
Can I ask councillors please to put up their hands and not speak before I say their name? Thank you. I have a proposer then, please. Oh yes, Councillor Graves. Oh, well, I need a seconder then. Councillor King, thank you. And
Chair, I'm happy to second the proposal. Thank you.
thank you. And those who agree with this? Joe? That's carried, thank you. Rota of meetings and a quick word on that, please, Beth.
Again, as with the last 2 items, the rota of meetings was put forward in draft. We understand following the elections there may be some changes which need to be made, but the constitution as drafted requires that the annual council confirm the rota of meetings, and therefore that is what we are inviting you to do. It obviously will be a matter for future as to whether that particular caveat within the constitution remains the same or not, or whether there are any changes to be brought forward in due course.
And a proposer, please. Would you wish to speak?
Yeah, please,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Yeah, I just wanted to just have a slight clarification. One of the things that we're looking at is increasing the number of full councils. Could the monitoring officer actually give us some comment on that particular point, please?
Yes, I'll refer to the monitoring officer.
As I said, Councillor Knowles, if there are to be any changes to the rota of meetings, as the constitution is currently drafted, only the annual council can make an amendment to the rota of meetings. You could call extraordinary general meetings, but you couldn't formally change the rota of meetings, which is another reason why the constitution perhaps needs looking at. It's rather a quirk of the area, shall I say, that the rota of meetings can only be changed by the annual meeting. But I'm asking for it, well, the other way through it is to determine any adjustment to the rota of meetings. But I think that given the work that's going through the Constitution Review Committee, it may be that you prefer not to give that delegation and for the committee to determine. That's a matter for members to decide.
Yeah, Chair and colleagues, as the last chair of the CRC committee, that's Constitutional Review Committee, it was discussed at our last meeting about the point that the Director of Law and Government has just made. One of the proposed amendments, which hasn't yet been adopted, was to change the ability of, so it wasn't just annual council, it would be any ordinary meeting of council will be able to change the meeting rota. But obviously, as we haven't brought through those amendments yet, that change isn't enabled. But obviously, if we did bring that forward later, my understanding is we would then be able to do that via a council meeting, not just annual council. So therefore, I think the leader would be able to change the agenda later if there is support to change the way that council meetings agendas can be set. That's obviously something the CRC to look at, and then council to come back and then agree that in July. Thank you, Chair.
Need a proposer and a seconder, please.
Speak, Chair. May I speak?
Yes.
Okay, through you, Chair. So we do need to agree the rota of meetings this evening. We've got on there that the recommendation is that we consider the draft meetings in terms of to drop or amend it. We can adopt the meeting as the agenda, sorry, the meeting rota as proposed. We can then look to add in further dates at a future, either through the Constitution Review Committee can change the constitution to allow the council to add in more council meetings at a future date. And once the constitution is changed and agreed at council, then we can add those dates in. Or you could agree a delegation to the Director of Law and Governance in consultation with the group leaders to amend the rota of meetings at a future date. So if you agree to delegate from this annual meeting to the Director of Law and Governance in consultation with the group leaders, the change of the rota, we can make those changes without the constitution being amended. So you can either wait till the constitution is amended and add your meeting dates in then, or you can delegate now for a future meeting date and the amendment to the rota to be made. That's the two options. Thank you.
Councillor Knowles.
Chairman, I wonder if there's a third option, which is that we actually, no, that came off a bit, yeah. Well, there's a third option, which is that we actually delegate the opportunity to add in extra meetings to the monitoring officer or the chief executive in conjunction with the leader of the council, so that we could actually treat this with a little more urgency rather than having to go through, because I know there are a number of here that want to add in more meetings. So I would think that that's possible. Am I correct?
Yeah, through you, Chair. Actually, I think that that's fundamentally what little b says. So we can, if you delegate to the Director of Law and Governance in consultation with, we change that to the leader of the council rather than group leaders,
yeah,
to determine any further adjustments to be made to the rota of meetings, and that is including additional meetings.
Okay.
Yep, is that fine?
Yeah, well, that's fine, Chairman. Thank you.
So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Knowles and Councillor.
Could I just ask, to make sense, but is that for this year only, or is that in perpetuity?
I'm assuming
This year.
this year. For this year only.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a seconder?
No, Chair.
No.
What I wanted to just say, just picking up what the leader said earlier about collaboration, working in collaboration, kind of goes against what he just said. If he's going to say that the setting new meetings will be with the Director of Law and Governance in consultation with him only, that runs counter what he just said earlier. So I would really suggest that the leader might like to reconsider what he just said, and it should be the relevant group leaders. Now, given he's got himself and two of the group leaders in part of his coalition, that shouldn't be difficult for him to speak to them, and he's only got to speak to Councillor Bateman. I do think that's only polite and proper that he does consult if there were going to be extra meetings, in case, of course, we had a meeting of our own arranged or other things. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Knowles.
I think, Chairman, I've already demonstrated my ability to communicate and to speak with the leaders. I'm sure Councillor Bateman will agree that's already been demonstrated this evening. So I'm quite comfortable with the way it is, because we can obviously discuss it. And I'm not about to move something that's going to be problematical in that way, just for the sake of getting an extra meeting.
Can you clarify, you have proposed this? Yes, he has. And a seconder, please, if we have a seconder. Yes, Councillor Salfas, thank you. And so a show of hands, please. That's carried, thank you. Now we're here, right?
Yep, so just
On 15.
outside bodies, exactly.
15 then, on your agenda, representatives to outside bodies. I invite the Director of Law and Governance to present the report, if she can keep it as brief as you can, and recommendations, please.
Again, no doubt the Constitution Review Committee will also undertake a review of the outside bodies. For the sake of getting through the meeting, I would ask you all to confirm that the outside bodies should be appointed to in accordance with previous arrangements, and the nominations will come through in due course.
Councillor Knowles.
Happy to do that, Chairman. I think it makes sense. We've got certain of the bodies where ward members are involved. I think it's important that carries on. There's other things that need to be looked at, and I think it needs to be done in the fullness of time.
Are you proposing this?
I'm proposing, Chairman.
Thank you. Have we a seconder? Councillor Bateman, would you like to speak?
I'm just happy to second. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can we have a show of hands, please? That's carried. That's fine. Yeah, I'm sorry that you've had to wait so long for the fun bit, but I just have one more notice for you, which I should have said earlier. The Armed Forces Day is on the 26th of June, and it's at the side of the old grammar school on that day in Market Harborough. And yes, photos. The officers are hoping that some photos can be taken to mark this occasion. You need to go to the outside. Yes, you know the wooden door on the side of this building, the old entrance, original entrance. It's the entrance of the registrar's office to the registrar's office, right on the corner. Can you move to there? When are we having these? Now, please, and former councillors as well, please. And I can see you in the assembled company. Yeah, okay. Thank you all very much for your patience. And I declare the meeting closed at 8:07. Thank you.